Spain just drew Cape Verde. Now normally I would call that an upset and move on, but then I saw the stats. Spain had 74% possession, they took 27 shots, they created over 2 expected goals, and somehow they still couldn't score. Everyone is talking about Cape Verde's goalkeeper, but I think that's distracting people from a much bigger problem, because what happened in this game wasn't just bad luck, it might be the biggest warning sign Spain could have received at this World Cup. The funny thing is, Cape Verde didn't beat Spain, they didn't dominate Spain, they didn't even come close to them. Spain controlled almost every aspect of this match. They had the ball, they controlled the tempo, they created chances, the expected goals were over 2. Most days that's enough to win comfortably, but football doesn't care about possession, football doesn't care about expected goals. Football cares about one thing, putting the ball in the net, and that's where Spain's problems begin. Because while everyone else was celebrating beautiful football, I kept asking myself one question: who exactly is supposed to score for this team? Think about the other favorites. France have players that can create something from absolutely nothing. England have players that can decide games with a single touch. Norway have Haaland. Argentina have multiple match winners. Even when those teams play badly, you always feel like somebody can bail them out. With Spain, I don't get that feeling. What I see in the team is full of technically brilliant footballers, amazing passers, amazing movers, amazing controllers of possession. But when the game becomes messy, when a team parks the bus, when chances become rare, who is killed in the box or outside of the box? Who is the guy defenders are terrified of? Against Cape Verde, nobody looked like that player. And that's why this result feels bigger than a simple draw. Because Spain didn't fail to create, they failed to finish. That's much harder to fix. But here's where things get even more worrying. Because Yamal wasn't even on the pitch when they started. He came off the bench. And the moment he stepped on, Cape Verde's whole shape changed. Suddenly they were nervous. Suddenly they were retreating. One teenager, 30 minutes, completely shifted the game. Now think about what that actually means. If Spain need a substitute to change the entire rhythm of a match, what happens when that substitute starts? What happens when teams scout him and build a game plan to shut him down before kickoff? Because right now the plan looks like this: struggling to create? Bring on Yamal. Need a spark? Yamal. Need someone defenders are scared of? Yamal. He is phenomenal. Genuinely one of the best young players in the world, but a team that is dependent on one 18-year-old coming off the bench to save them, that's not depth, that's a warning light. Now normally people will want to blame the manager, and usually that's fair, but the numbers don't really support that here. De La Fuente's Spain controlled possession, they controlled tempo, they created over 2 expected goals worth of chances. Tactically this wasn't a broken performance, this was a finishing problem wearing a tactical disguise, and finishing problems are scarier than tactical ones. Because you can fix a system in training, you cannot manufacture a striker who finishes chances under pressure out of thin air. So, are Spain cooked? Based on this performance, it's a fair question to ask. Because being the better team for 90 minutes doesn't matter if you can't pull the ball in the net. Spain's biggest threat at this World Cup isn't Cape Verde, it isn't bad luck, it isn't even a goalkeeper who made 7 incredible saves. It's that for all their control, all their possession, all their technical brilliance, they still don't have a reliable answer to the simplest question in football: who scores when it actually matters? And until Spain find that answer, they are one bad night away from going home early. But let's go one level deeper than this one game, because the finishing problem we just talked about, it didn't appear out of nowhere. It's building for years. And once you see why, this Cape Verde result stops being a shock and starts being exactly what you would expect. Spain academies are the best in the world at producing one specific type of player: the passer, the press-resistant midfielder, the tactician who never loses the ball, Xavi, Iniesta, Pedri, Gavi. But ask yourself something: when was the last time Spain produced a true number 9? Not a false 9, not a link-up forward, an actual ruthless, cold-blooded finisher. David Villa retired over a decade ago. Fernando Torres even longer. Since then, mostly forwards who are excellent footballers but not natural goal scorers. Alvaro Morata is a perfect example. Great movement, hard worker, drops into space beautifully, but is he the guy who scares a centre back? The guy who scores ugly, scrappy 10 out of 10 finishes when the game is broken and nobody is setting him up. Not really. And that's the actual root cause of what we saw against Cape Verde. It's not that Spain forgot how to create chances, they created plenty. It's that they have spent over a decade producing players who make the chance and almost nobody who's built purely to finish it. Which brings us to why this isn't a group stage problem. Spain have been here before. 2018 knocked out by Russia on penalties, 2022 knocked out by Morocco on penalties. Notice the pattern. Both times Spain dominated possession. Both times they couldn't break the opponent down in normal time. Both times the game came down to something other than their actual football. A 0-0 draw against Cape Verde isn't a random isolated bad day. It's the same story Spain have been living for years, just happening earlier than usual, which is actually the upside down here. Because this happened in the group stage and not the round of 16. There's still time to adjust. There is still time for De La Fuente to find minutes for a more direct profile up front, even if it is not the most talented option on paper. There's still time to stop relying on chance volume to eventually produce a goal and start finding any way possible to be more clinical in the moments that matters. But if nothing happens, if Spain go into the knockout rounds with the same approach, the same reliance on overwhelming teams with possession instead of punishing them with precision, history says we already know how the story ends. So is this just a one-off bad night, or is it the same flaw that's cost Spain 2 World Cups already, showing up for the third time? Let me know in the comments what do you think about it.